When we think about getting good with money, we tend to think it's all about what you know. But what if I told you it has way less to do with how smart you are and a whole lot more to do with how you behave? Okay, let's dive into some of the timeless lessons from Morgan Housel's amazing book, The Psychology of Money. And this right here is this central idea that frames everything. We've all seen it, right? People making financial decisions that, from the outside, look absolutely bonkers. But Housel's point is that everyone's choices make perfect sense to them. It's all based on their own unique experiences and their own mental map of how the world works. And that's really because we've all been taught to see money as this hard science. A world of spreadsheets and formulas where you just plug in the numbers and get the right answer. But the reality? Oh, it's so much messier than that. Finance is actually a soft skill where how you handle things like greed and fear matters a heck of a lot more than your ability to calculate compound interest. So let's really dig into this foundational concept. Your personal history with money is pretty much everything. It shapes your entire worldview in ways you probably don't even realize. This slide really just nails it. We all have our own little slice of experience with money. And that tiny slice, no matter how small it is in the grand scheme of things, it just completely dominates how we see the financial world. So, for example, if you grew up watching your parents' savings get absolutely destroyed by inflation, you're going to have this deep-seated fear of it that someone who grew up in more stable times, they just can't really grasp it. No textbook can ever replace the raw emotional power of living through something like that. But, our personal history isn't the only thing going on. As we're about to see, there are these powerful, almost invisible forces at play that can have a massive impact on our financial lives. Okay, so let's talk about luck and risk. They're basically two sides of the exact same coin. They're this recognition that not all success comes from hard work, and not all failure is because someone was lazy. They are the wild cards, the totally unpredictable variables that influence every single outcome in our lives, from our careers to our investments. And this story, man, it just illustrates the point perfectly. Bill Gates had this 1 in a million stroke of luck. I mean, he went to one of the only high schools in the world that had a computer back in 1968. But his brilliant friend, Kent Evans, who everyone thought was destined for greatness right there with him, he was a 1 in a million story of risk. A random mountaineering accident took his life before he even graduated. Same talent, same drive, but totally different outcomes, all because of these invisible forces. All right, now let's talk about maybe the most powerful force in all of finance, compounding. And here's the thing, it's often misunderstood. The real magic isn't about chasing these huge, crazy returns. Nope, it's about getting pretty good, steady returns that can just keep going, completely uninterrupted, for the longest time possible. The secret ingredient isn't genius, it's time. Just look at this number. It is absolutely staggering. Warren Buffett is a fantastic investor. No one's debating that. But his real secret weapon? It's time. The man started investing when he was 10 years old. Almost his entire fortune was generated after he qualified for Social Security. That right there is the mind-blowing power of compounding over a human lifetime. Buffett's story really drives home the power of uninterrupted compounding. And that one little word, uninterrupted, brings us to a super important point. See, getting rich and staying rich are two completely different skills. In fact, they often demand the exact opposite mindset. So, getting rich, that often means you've got to take some big risks. It requires a ton of optimism, you got to be bold. But staying rich? Whoa, that's a whole different ballgame. It's a game of survival. It demands a bit of paranoia, a focus on not getting wiped out. You have to avoid financial ruin at all costs because you cannot let anything interrupt that compounding we were just talking about. The focus totally shifts from chasing high returns to just being financially unbreakable. And one of the single biggest threats to staying rich is this deep psychological trap, the idea of enough. It's this danger of constantly moving the goalposts, of letting your desires just keep growing with every little bit of success. And these stories here, wow, they are such powerful cautionary tales. Just think about Rajat Gupta. The man came from nothing and had everything, fame, $100 million fortune, respect. But it wasn't enough. He risked everything he had for something he didn't even need, and it completely destroyed him. It's just this incredible reminder that the hunger for more can be a cliff edge for anyone, no matter how successful they are. So, if more isn't the answer, what is? I mean, what's the ultimate point of building up wealth in the first place? Well, this brings us to the real, true payoff of money.
Housel has this brilliant concept. He calls it the man in the car paradox. We think that if we buy a fancy car, like a Ferrari, people will look at us and think we're cool. But they don't. They look at the Ferrari and they imagine themselves driving it, getting all that respect and admiration. The respect we think we're buying with stuff, it rarely lands on us. It lands on the object itself, which other people just use as a measuring stick for what they want.
So, if it's not about the expensive toys, and it's not about getting other people to admire you, what is it? What is the actual highest form of wealth you can have?
This is it. This is the whole game, the real goal. It's the ability to wake up every single morning and say, you know what? I can do whatever I want today.
And the research on this is so clear. A strong sense of control over your own life is a way better predictor of happiness than your salary, the size of your house, or how prestigious your job is. That freedom, that autonomy, that's what money can actually buy if you use it the right way. It's the ability to choose your work, to choose your schedule, to choose your life. That's the real return on your savings.
So at the end of the day, that's the big takeaway. Forget the fancy cars and the giant houses. The true goal, the single greatest thing that money can offer you, is the freedom to live your life on your own terms. Now that is a financial goal worth striving for.